What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video here on my YouTube channel. And for those of you that are new around here and don't know who I am, my name's Aaron. I create travel photography and videography based content here on YouTube. So if that is something that will interest you, be sure to subscribe to the channel. But as you can tell by the title today, I'm going to be discussing with you guys how expensive, or more to the point, how cheap is Bangkok? How cheap is it to travel Bangkok? Now, it's no secret that traveling Thailand, Southeast Asia and Bangkok in particular is cheap as chips, if not even cheaper. But today I'm going to go into the details of how cheap everything is in Bangkok, and hopefully that will help some of you guys out if you are visiting Bangkok in the future. So if you do find this video useful at any point, be sure to let me know by leaving a like. Put any comments or questions down below in the comment section and let me know if you guys have been to Bangkok or if you're planning a trip there. And obviously be sure to check out the linked playlist on screen right now, which is some more travel related content. But let's just jump straight into the video. Okay, so I'm going to break this video down into accommodation, food and drinks, transport, and then everything else. And I'm going to start off with accommodation. Now, most people that visit Bangkok visit it as a part of a stop off, as basically it's a hub for most of Southeast Asia. So most people that go there are mainly backpackers, and obviously it's their first point, their first contact with Southeast Asia, because that's where most flights go into. So most people only spend a couple of days in Bangkok. I know quite a lot of people only spend a day there. Some people spend up to 3, which is what I done, basically just to sleep off the jet lag before going on to travel the rest of Southeast Asia. So that's what I'm going to be budgeting for in this video. Now, a room in a hostel dorm can be as cheap as £4 to about £8 a night. That's what I found for the decent ones. You can probably get it a bit cheaper. You could probably get ripped off and get them for a bit more expensive. But basically, I stayed in one of the best hostels in Bangkok. It will be on screen now, and I highly recommend it. It was called Bed One Block, and I believe that basically put me back £15 for 3 nights. So obviously £5 a night, which is great value. And obviously they actually have another hostel, which is actually the main one, which is called Bed Station Hostel, which actually has a bit smaller rooms, so less people in the rooms. Mine had 10 in, these have like 8 or 6, so it's a bit more expensive. But as I said, anywhere between £4 and £8 per night is actually really good value for a hostel. Now, in terms of budget hotels, it's usually between £10 and £30 per night, and to be fair, that is actually excellent in comparison with the rest of the world. In Europe, £30 a night is quite unheard of for a budget hotel, but in Southeast Asia and in Bangkok, £10 to £30 per night. And if you are paying £30 a night, then that's probably on the more steep side. You can get stuff for between £10 and £15 per night, which is actually pretty decent. It has high reviews and obviously a good star rating hotel. That's because, as I said, this part of the world is very cheap. So if you do want that bit of extra privacy, or maybe there's a couple of you traveling, consider getting a hotel room just for, as I said, extra privacy. And obviously you can split the cost if there are a couple of you, and it still works out very cheap. So clearly accommodation costs in Southeast Asia is very affordable, and it's very budget friendly for whatever type of traveler you are. If you are a backpacker on a tight budget, or maybe you're traveling to Bangkok for business for a couple of days, you will find something for very cheap. But a quick tip is to use Agoda when traveling Southeast Asia to find accommodation over booking.com and hotels.com. I've recommended them 2 websites in the past, but that's for Europe. Agoda is the best for Southeast Asia, and obviously Hostel World if you are doing hostels. Them 2 websites and apps are absolutely essential if you are traveling Southeast Asia. Okay, next up is food and drink, and if you're staying in a hostel, then you'll often get your breakfast for free, and some of them actually do buffets. So if that is the case, stock up if you want for lunchtime. So maybe just take a bag and wrap some stuff up and take it out with you. That way you get your breakfast and lunch for free. But if it is just regular breakfast, like in my hostel, which was just basically toast and cereal and stuff like that, then you can get your breakfast for free. And a quick tip is coffee is quite expensive in cafes and stuff like that over there. So if your hostel does offer coffee, get it for there for free, even if you plan on eating out for your breakfast. If you do want to eat out for breakfast, if you eat in a local cafe, you're going to be hard pressed to spend £1. And I'm basically going to do all this in English currency. If you want to convert it to Thai, £1 is about 40 to 44 baht. And then obviously if you need to convert that to US dollars, Canadian dollars, Australian dollars, whatever, then you can do the conversion. But I'm going to be using English pounds, Great British pounds, whatever you want to call it, pound sterling. And as I said, local cafes for breakfast, you'll be pushed to spend £1. If you want to eat in a more Western based place, you're probably going to spend £2 or £3 at most. But as I said, coffee is very expensive. So if you are going to be eating out, try to get your coffee in your hostel, and then any other foods will set you back no more than £3 regardless of where you eat. And then 7-Eleven, which is basically the convenience store, which is very popular over in Bangkok and in the whole of Southeast Asia. It's a very, very good place to go and get your food. I used to get a 1.5 litre bottle of water, which is the massive bottles of water. It is 3 times of these. I used to get that, a carton of orange juice, a croissant and a ham and cheese toastie for less than £1.25. It was about 50-60 baht, something like that. So it was really, really cheap. So if you are looking for somewhere where you can go and get food on the go, 7-Eleven is literally all over the place. There's literally like 2 or 3 every couple of minutes. So they're very, very easy to find, and obviously they are very, very affordable. Now, as I said, lunch can be covered by hostels or hotels. If you have a breakfast buffet, just stock up. But if you need to eat out, then you're not going to spend much more. If you'll be actually hard pressed to actually spend £3 if you go to a Western based place. So obviously if you go to like a Western cafe or somewhere that sells Western food, to get a meal and a drink, it's gonna be tough to spend £3 in obviously the equivalent in the Thai baht currency. If you want to eat local, then I recommend street vendors. You're in Thailand, you're in Southeast Asia, embrace the local culture. That's what I've done. And if you eat that way, the food's great and it's actually very, very cheap. You will be hard pressed to spend £1 for lunch, and that includes rice and 2 or 3 pieces of meat, whether it be pork or chicken or whatever type of meat you want. It's very, very cheap and it's very, very nice and it's safe. So do make sure you dive into the local culture for lunch and dinner. Now, speaking of dinner, it's gonna set you back anywhere between £1 and £5, depending on how fancy you want to be. If you want to go to a fancy Western-based restaurant, which you don't really go to Thailand for, or even Southeast Asia, then it's gonna set you back towards the upper part of that region, which is still cheap compared to Western prices. But you're not going to Thailand for that reason. You're not going to Southeast Asia for that reason. Dive into the local culture, like I said. It's cheap. It's actually really, really nice. You'll be a bit tentative at first. You'll be a bit like, should I try it? What if it makes my stomach upset or whatever? It's actually completely fine. It's really safe. It's really nice food. Dive into the local culture, the street food. It will literally set you back £1. I literally got food from a bus station, so it was actually a bit more expensive because obviously they know there's going to be a lot of tourists there. And I actually got 3 chicken wings and rice, and it literally set me back, I think it was about 40 baht, so literally £1. So it's a really, really great option, and it's very, very budget friendly. So do consider, not even consider, just make sure you try the local culture. Having said that, if you do want to push the boat out slightly, then go to CM Paragon, I believe it's called, and go to the food market in there. The price is a bit more expensive, but the food's just that little bit extra nice. So go and check that place out if you're in Bangkok. Okay, next up is transport. Now, the SkyTrain from the airport to the main city of Bangkok will set you back 45 Thai baht, which is basically £1. And then the best option, in my opinion, was the single tickets for all of the transport using the SkyTrain. And that basically sets you back between anywhere from 16 baht to, again, about 40 to 50, which is basically anywhere from 30p to £1. So you use single tickets over there. That's the best option. You can get saver passes or whatever they call it, tourist passes. I didn't actually consider that option because I didn't actually use the SkyTrain all that much, but you can look into that if you want to do so, but single tickets seem like the best option for me. Taxis and tuk-tuks are actually quite expensive in Bangkok. I'm not too sure on the rest of Thailand. I'd imagine it would be the same, but in Bangkok, they set you back between like 100 and 200 Thai baht, which is basically like £3 to £4, maybe even pushing a bit more upwards to £5. So whilst it's quite cheap, considering that you could be in like a tuk-tuk or a taxi for about 40 minutes and it still only cost you £4, compared to Western prices, that's unbelievable. But if you do that for every single place you want to go to, you will soon start burning through your money. And if you are a budget backpacker, that is not the way to budget. So I do recommend trying to avoid them where possible. Just walk and use the other methods of transportation like the SkyTrain and buses, which have very, very similar prices. And then the other method of transportation is the water taxi or the water boat. I actually used it, and you'll be seeing footage on screen right now. And they basically try and sell you a day pass for tourists for 200 baht, which is about £5. And that's all they ever go on about. It's 200 baht, 200 baht, 200 baht. This is what you need to get this, blah, blah, blah. You do not buy it, because a single ticket on that boat is 9 baht, which you'd have to use 22 times just to get your value's worth of one of these day passes. And to be honest, you're not going to use that water taxi 22 times in a day, so you will not get your value's worth. It's obviously just a way of them making money, so just pay single every single time. They won't even tell you the price. If you say single, they'll make out like that's not a thing, but literally just hand the person who comes around and gives you the tickets 10 baht, which is actually only a coin, and he'll give you 1 back on your ticket, and it's 9 baht for a single. So just make sure you consider that when you are in Bangkok, and do not get caught out by them trying to sell you a tourist pass. And finally, everything else. Now this is like activities, souvenirs, and any other purchases you wish to make. Now in terms of activities, the most expensive one is the Grand Palace, which will set you back 500 Thai baht, which is basically about £12, which you can understand why a lot of people do not go and visit it. I didn't, because whilst that's quite, reasonable in terms of if you went to somewhere in Europe, you'd probably pay a lot more just to go and visit something quite average, but that's like the main attraction and it's only £12. But you're backpacking Thailand, your budget backpacking, that's not kind of in the price region that you expect, because everything else will not set you back any more than £1. To be honest, all the activities I went to see were either free or they were literally 50 Thai baht entry fee or slightly more. It was never 500, so that is something you have to consider. Whilst it does give you a full day of activities, because it's quite a big place, you can spend hours upon hours looking around it. Is it worth your money? Can you just go and see the other things like the reclining Buddha? Some of the free activities are the graffiti wall. Go and check out all the malls of Thailand. There's loads and loads of shopping malls. I highly recommend going to check them out. And go and check out the giant swing, which again is completely free. So you don't have to pay top prices to go and get the best experiences. In Bangkok, you can actually often do free things and just get exactly the same enjoyment out of it. So to conclude, I don't usually do a grand total, but for this one I am going to, because I did actually figure it out. And obviously it will differ from person to person because people have different travel styles. You may actually be a budget backpacker on even less of a budget, or you may actually, as I said, be traveling for business and you want to stay in luxury hotels and just eat food that you'd expect to eat back at home, and obviously your budget would be much more higher than what I budgeted for. But basically all my meals, my transport, and even my accommodation, all the activities, everything that I mentioned for one day actually worked out to £14.88, and as I said, that includes my hostel, which was like £5 or £6. And I even actually ate in Starbucks, which set me back like £2 or £3 British pounds. So that's not something I recommend, so that could actually get knocked off the budget, and I didn't do that every day. So it's between like £10 and £15, I'd say, per day in Bangkok, which, as I said, is a rough guide to go off, but that is absolutely excellent. And it's no wonder that people can backpack Thailand and Southeast Asia on £600 a month, which includes transport between all the places, because let's be honest, when you're on a non-transport day, a non-travel day, when you're just in a city or in a small town or whatever you are, it can literally cost £10 if you wanted to. It can cost £15 per day. So it is very, very cheap, and it's no wonder that that region of the world is so heavily traveled and obviously a key place for budget backpackers. But that is all for this video. As I said, it was kind of a rough guide. Obviously, people have different travel styles, but hopefully this did help any of you guys out who are potentially visiting Bangkok and want to know on the budget side of things. If you did find this video useful at any point, be sure to let me know by leaving a like, put any comments or questions or any of your budgets that you may have used if you have been to Bangkok down below in the comment section. And as I said at the start of the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. But thank you for watching, guys. Till next time, goodbye.